Michael, would you please give us the time and the date?
Yes, the time is 7 minutes after 7, and the date is March 24th, 2021.
Thank you so much. Well,
Welcome.
we have just been having the most glorious time with our new guest, Gerald.
Who you adopted last night officially.
I adopted him last night because he
You
is
and
so
Michael
charming and such a gentleman. And plus that, he's very delightful and has pretty blue eyes. Oh dear. Well, we are just filled with happiness and joy to have everyone here together. And we do welcome you. We welcome you into our family with love, in the hope that this will bring fruit for God, for Cronus, for Maitreya, for Saint Germain, for Orion, and for everyone on the earth. May it eventually go from person to person, even if it's in their sleep, or subliminally, or however. But we will be in hopes that our messages will get out.
Well, in actuality, as we discussed yesterday, all 7.5 million have already received our messages. And with Gerald's elucidation of the spirit self,
I love it when you talk like that.
listen to that talk. We just recorded it just a few minutes ago. It is on the spirit self, the I am spirit self. It will tell you everything you need to know to get in touch with and begin to commune with that eternal part of us, the I am spirit self. And we hope that everyone will do that, Gerald. And also, I echo your sentiments. It's so wonderful to have you here, Gerald.
Oh,
you have
is,
filled our lives
of
with
course.
a fifth dimensional reality. Thank you.
Plus,
And a sweetness. We
oh, yes,
appreciate
a
you.
sweetness.
Very nice.
but
very sweet.
I also want to mention that he has been so gracious and so very attentive to our child, Alexander.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. You have asked for this meeting. Cronus, I hail you. Lord Maitreya, we hail you. We thank you for coming. You have asked for this. We really did not know there would actually be a meeting, so you have asked this of us, and here we are. I have no idea what your plans are for us, but anything that you have to offer at all, we take with respect. And I do hear our Alexander. Alexander? I heard his footsteps. All right, well, he usually will listen, but at a little distance.
Well, sometimes he pokes his head in.
Yes.
He'll ask a couple
yes,
questions
or
of
sits on the
Lord Maitreya and
steps.
others. Yeah.
Now, we were just talking about the I am family. Or maybe not the I am family exactly.
The I am presence.
The I am presence. The presence. Now, what I want to know is this I am family something that we can attain or that we can ever approach? That's my first question. Who would like to take it? Maitreya. Maitreya would like to take it? Okay. All right. Number one, Maitreya. Are you of the I am family? He is not. But do you have the I am presence within you? He does. He does. But it is from your fathers or your grandparents or the higher I am presence. Yes. Yes. So, and do Do we have an I am presence?
That's what Gerald was just
Gerald
talking
was
about.
saying that we do. But we are not of the I am family per se. There is a
Yeah, I think
difference.
that's a delineation there.
Delineation. But we can have an I am presence. Yes. Yes. So, is this something, Maitreya, that you can attain? Yes, he can.
Well, maybe we should ask if they're linked in some way.
The I am presence is different than the I am family.
Maybe they're
In
linked in some way,
respect.
though.
They are linked. The I am family gives the I am presence
Yeah.
to every one of their children. Every one of their children. But it's still something that has to be attained unless they are of the first, second, and third source sender. Like the Urantia Book says.
Well, as Gerald was talking about in, I think in this talk, that the I am presence is pre-personal.
Yes.
It is pre-personal. It is pre-personality. So that in my when I have been thinking about the I am, especially when it is as it is presented in the Urantia Book, in my view, that the I am gives way to deity, which gives way to personality or personal beings functioning on different levels of reality. Pre-personal to me would be before personalizations of deity, pre-personal. So maybe the I am yields forth from it that eventually that ability for us to be a part of that and
To
have.
feel it? Can we feel it? The I am presence?
Well, it feels like my question would be then along those lines, even though it's pre-personal, are we attaining an I am presence through our fusion with Spirit Self?
More.
Okay.
Of course.
But that presupposes that we have that ability. So there's the germ of that in there.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
As Creator's children, it's our birthright.
Mhm. But Maitreya, you are not of the I am family per se. He is not. He is not. And yet I know that they say that the Buddhas, there is an eternal part of them, and that, I would think, would be the link to the I am family. They're saying, no, they're separate.
So I am family and I am presence is something different.
Well, you have to have the I am lineage, to actually be the I am family. But the I ams do lend their presence to all of their children, their light. All right. So, you're trying to make a Christ school. He says, no, I'm not trying to make a Christ school. I am doing a Christ school. If you are a Christ, then are you trying to be of the I am family? No. I am.
Let me ask. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a different situation. It's different.
Well, let me ask this question. Lord Maitreya, do you have an I am presence?
Of course. Yes, of
Okay.
course. I do.
Are you
Yes.
trying to attain, in your way, fusion with the I am presence, with the eternal, primeval fragment of God within all of creation?
Yes, he is too. Yes. So
Probably on a much higher level, I would
much higher
imagine.
level, and he will
Than
evolve.
Me, speak for myself.
It seems to me what you're trying to tell us is that when these 4 outer space levels are created, that even you will be raising yourself to live on them in a higher way than you have here.
Everyone grows
Everyone grows.
continually.
Everyone grows. I would imagine it takes a lot for a human to ever attain something like that, of course. But a Christ beginning is the best way. That's the best way. That's the best way to begin.
So, Gerald, I wanted to ask you then, so in your previous talk you were saying that the I am presence is your future self, is a more full expression of your eternal self.
Upon fusion with Spirit Self, what the Urantia revelation calls the thought adjuster, or the mystery monitor, fragments, creator fragments of the Father, the Creator, that when we choose fusion with that creator fragment of the Father, we will become divine at that point, and our creator fragment will become personalized with our personality. The merging of the two will be as one, even to the highest of celestial beings.
And you also talked about, thank you for that, I appreciate that. And you also talked about that the I am presence, or when we fuse with our thought adjuster, with the I am presence, that we will be functioning on absonite levels of reality?
What's called the absonite level, which I'm not fully versed on what that actually is, except that the Urantia revelation states that. And my question along those lines would be, when we choose to fuse.
Choose to fuse. I like that.
That's a bumper sticker.
I'm going to do that.
Choose to fuse with our Spirit Self, I am presence, creator fragment, that at that point, that will be who we are, and in actuality it's a future self, because most of us at this point are not fused. But my question along those lines is, Lord Maitreya, is it possible with this shift in energy and ongoing evolutionary probability toward fifth dimensional and beyond and above capability, would that give us an opportunity to fuse while we are still in this mortal vehicle as it evolves through those levels?
You're saying absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's also saying that the Urantia Book is full of perfect knowledge, but there are other lineages that are not included. You have other ways, other pathways. He says the best way, and the way that he is doing, is to try to prepare people through the Christ way. That is the best way for humans to go,
Thank
really.
you.
It's really the very best. It's not the easiest, but it is the best way.
Mhm.
And that is
Thank
through
you.
Mm-hmm.
Maitreya.
And that is through Maitreya. Yes,
Mhm.
that is through him. Now, he also says, the Buddha lineage does not really extend with me and further. He says Maitreya and his lineage is Christ, really,
Wow.
from then on.
And Christ talked about that in the Course in Miracles,
Oh,
that the Buddha had a particular level that it was,
yes.
that it had brought
Different.
humanity to,
Mhm.
and the Christ goes further.
Yes,
They're-
yes.
they're brothers.
All right, that's fine. So the Buddha lineage is different, and it does stop at Gautama, which is right above him.
Okay.
It's right above him. Buddha, Gautama Buddha, is the king of this world, and he has been for, actually, the Neo-Theosophy says that he was made the worldwide leader rather recently, just since the 1950s, something like that, they put him. But he's saying he has been the world leader since he arrived here 90,000 years ago.
So where the Buddha path,
Not Maitreya, Gautama.
where the Buddha path ends,
Mhm.
the Christ path begins.
He's saying for the human that this is really the best path to go. If you really are interested in ascending as far as you can go, the Christ path is the way to go, because humans are not born of the Buddha lineage from Gautama. Therefore, you almost have to go through Maitreya and his Christ schools to then approach a level that might be near the Gautama or the we shall say eternal essence that the Buddha has.
Mhm.
And he's saying not him, but the Buddha up to Gautama, because there have been many Buddhas before Gautama, and he is the fifth, Maitreya, he is the very last, which means that there are no more for this planet, and so the only way humans can go is through the Christ, because he's the last Buddha.
The path
He is
to
the last opportunity
the path to
that a Buddha
fusion.
had for this earth.
The path to fusion.
Well, in other words, he's the last Buddha. The only way humans can go further is through the Christ and through him. Because the Buddhas ended with the eternal, like the I Am family have with Gautama. Gautama is of the eternal lineage, but he's not of the I Am. There are other lineages that are higher, but a human, really about the only way they can go to even approach the level of a Buddha is through the Christ. And that is through him. And especially if you're on this planet, because he is the one who will approve
Yeah,
of
we'll have to
those who are
talk a little bit
accepted
more
and
about.
not.
We'll have to talk a little bit more about what the Christ way is, as opposed to the
Of
Buddha.
And
course,
I have
of
a question
course.
about along those lines, tagging onto what you were saying, Michael, and that's that is the way of the affirmations that came through Saint Germain and yourself, Lord Maitreya and Orion, a way in synchronization or compatibility with Christ consciousness or the Christ way.
You're saying that they're perfectly perfect. Maitreya or Saint Germain, or you have the other ascended masters, they all use affirmations to help the student, the pupil, to become completely enveloped in the awareness of them. It keeps them enveloped in this 24 hours a day. And that's really what you need for humans, because they fall out of this so quickly. The simple thing of
Oh, yeah.
being lured by anything that's human, will take them out of it so fast. So if you don't have the affirmations given by one of the ascended masters, and he says, I am one too, although I am a Buddha, I still do use the affirmations and work with the ascended masters, and am considered an ascended master by humans here on this planet. That's really the only way to keep a human, so to speak, in the fluid of the way all the time. Because, as we all know, each day can bring so many conflicts and other people, and maybe sometimes hordes of people that will go to great lengths to harm this person or detract them from their purpose. So if you don't use affirmations, you can't keep that flow around you all the time.
Yeah, it sounds to me, Lord
Keep it
Maitreya,
safe,
and please, correct me
No.
if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to synthesize everything here, because Gerald is bringing us something very special
Yes.
from his experience that we want to, we want to pursue, we want to embody also, because we feel it's very valuable. I'm just trying to synthesize a couple of things here. The Christ way, the Christ path, helping us to be in tune with our I Am presence, with that eternal fragment of God given to each of us.
That is eternal.
When we fuse, or a couple of questions actually, how long does it take us, and I'm speaking for myself in purely human terms, how long does it take us, if we are on the Christ path and we work hard at it, to fuse with our I Am presence, as you have told us we can in this lifetime? And then when we fuse, how do we function in this world as a human who has fused? Number one, how long, and then how do we function?
Well, the time is, I'm sorry, it's totally personal. It's totally personal when a person will arrive at that. He's saying there have been periods in human history where maybe only one or two people have accomplished that goal, during a time frame. They used to say that if you had 1 or 2 to 10 people every year on the planet, that they felt they were doing a good job. He says what has happened, though, with the circumstance of allowing fusion is that they did lower the percentages that we have to attain to fuse. In the early years of your planet, you had to have up to 98%, 90% of yourself pretty well perfect on the Earth to make a fusion, but they did lower it to 51% just within the last 50 years. But even so, very few people really are attaining that, even with only 51% allowed that you had to do.
And then how do we function if we are relatively fused?
If there is a fusion at this time, you are not going to stay on this level of existence. You are going to lead a life on a different level. I know there are ways where people, maybe enlightened life, can attain some type of a different situation. But at this time, you are not. You are not going to live
But
on
it's
this level.
certainly, Lord Maitreya,
So-
it is worthwhile to pursue that at
It
this
is
time in the flesh.
It is the perfect thing to desire fusion, and that is the only thing that that you have to attain to be able to really be a Christ
Mm-hmm.
eventually. Eventually, you have to meet your other soulmate and so partner, and you do have to fuse in that way to be a Christ. You really do. So
Yes.
it's not really a question of when or anything. It's that you, at some point, you have to.
So just to clarify for this one, he is calling the thought adjuster, spirit self, the creator fragment, our soulmate, the indwelling spirit self.
In a way.
Yes, okay.
It's very technical, but in a way. In a way. When the two halves are together, it's almost like a god. You have so many creative powers you don't have before. But, you know, to even talk about that with the way your world is and the way that humanity is right now is it's really difficult.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Is there any kind of appeal, Lord Maitreya, to the general public? Is there an appeal? Is there something that would, excite or entice or get people to jump on board the Christ train? Really.
He's saying because of the confusion, because of the strife, because people are going through so much change right now, that he is here to tell Gerald that the affirmations are important because they will help to keep the individual in the flow, in the fluid of the gods at all times 24 hours a day, and therefore not be so thrown about or tossed to the wind, and help them to stabilize themselves so they can come out of this and actually maybe be an applicant for his Christ school. It's a very difficult time right now. People are having a hard time and suffering. So he's saying that this is the purpose of the affirmations right now. I mean, they have more purpose than that, but doing the affirmations will help protect the individual and keep them safe and keep them sound and keep them on the path better. So he's telling you this is important, and not to question whether it's important, because he's telling you it is, and it's for that purpose, because the human today is in a frightful state of not knowing what to do, where to go.
Thank
The
you so
affirmations
much
will help to clarify for the
for that
individual,
upliftment.
to keep them solid on the path, so that when things settle down,
Lord Maitreya.
then he can come and enter their heart and they can apply to be a Christ. But a lot of people are going to be tossed into the rubble or the fire because they simply will not be able to be strong enough to withstand what's going on. So,
I
the
have another
affirmations are
question.
important.
I am so appreciative of that revelation to us, Lord Maitreya. Thank you so much.
At this time, more than any other time, for a long, long period, it is most important for the individual to be safe. And he feels that you are like a boat. You're trying to rescue the people, to help them, give them the affirmations as a lifeboat, to help them be secure and get them to the other side when things will finally calm down and be a time when they then can stand up and know where they are and what they want to do, that the storm will cease. But until then, that is your purpose for people right now, to help them. So maybe you can tell them that the affirmations will help to keep them safe on this journey It is a journey from this
That's
side
true.
to the next.
The word protection does come in a lot in the
Yes.
affirmations. Yeah.
Right.
Now he's saying all the ascended masters have affirmations. He wants you to know that he wants people to say. But at this time particularly, he is involved with the Christ schools. Therefore, you, by honoring him, Lord Maitreya,
Mhm.
are giving people a source to go to gain his protection in addition to the manifestations that you give through the affirmations. In other words, he will then benefit them. If they are led to him, then he considers them his own.
Mhm.
So, even though there are other worthy, very, very worthy, like Saint Germain, and you have Serapis Bey, and you have so many others that
Rhea.
are worthy also. But he says,
Master M, you've got
I
a lot.
am the one that will accept or not accept applicants for the Christ school. So, if you call to me, the small or large group that you carry with you, I will help to protect,
Mhm.
to get them to the other side so that they can still have all their attributes intact and still be led to God by Maitreya.
I have a question.
Yes.
Lord Maitreya, how do Christ Michael's schools relate to the Christ schools that you are putting forth?
All Christs are considered, in a way, Buddhas. All Buddhas, in a way, are called Christs.
But there's the Gautama.
I
the
know,
Gautama
but
separation and the
the
Maitreya
Gautama
separation.
and his lineage above him, they have part eternal as the first, second, and source center.
In the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East, Jesus, the Christ, and Gautama Buddha are brothers.
Gautama has the lineage of the eternal.
Mhm.
The local universe father is not of the I Am family. You have to understand that.
Okay.
But he has the ability to attain it. But in a different lineage. In a different lineage. He can attain it and it will be his lineage. His lineage. The local universe father. He has told me, he has said he will attain a higher level when he works with the 4 outer space levels.
Uh-huh. When we actually attain spirit level after and I don't know where the absentite being comes in there, but when we attain spirit level, that's when we leave Christ Michael and Mother Spirit to go on.
He wants to make clear that there are so many levels and so many jobs that some of these gods do that interlap and that overlap. And we have to remember that Michael of Nebadon is the hierarchy, the highest hierarchy of the minor sector.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's higher than the Urantia Book says,
Okay.
but he is. So therefore you have to be careful if you limit Michael of Nebadon too. Even though he's not eternal, the Urantia Book limits him as
Well,
only
he is
one.
eternal though, because
Yes.
he's born in paradise.
I know, but he still
But
is
we-
not the I Am family.
But we think of
He
him.
has the ability to become eternal.
We think of him. We think of him in one role as local universe creator.
Yes.
Son.
Yes, and that's not his entire job.
Mhm.
And he is also has authority in the other super universes, which the Urantia Book does not say.
Yeah, and I sometimes the way I interpret when I see, when I see the diagrams of the different levels of our attainment of our ascension career, I see material, I see morantial, and then I see spiritual, and Havona, paradise, and then of course ultimate levels on the 4 outer space levels. We were talking one time, and we received some information that a lot of these levels are all interpenetrating.
Yes, that's another thing that it does not clarify.
When you're in a Morantia type situation where you're going through that soul growth, still within the local universe scheme, we received some insight that there are paradise levels there too, interpenetrating. They may be a quasi-paradise, I'm not sure, or quasi-spiritual, but they're all there. So I'm thinking that, because you were remarking that humans, and you asked the question, and the answer was that human beings can fuse with their thought adjuster, with their indwelling spirit, the higher spirit self, here. And that they could be functioning in a material body on an absonite level, on an ultimate level of functioning. And that's what we learn in Theosophy too, that all the different levels of being interpenetrate, and they're all right here, right now, available. Like you say, we can choose to live in the third dimensional thinking, or we can choose to live in fifth dimensional thinking,
And beyond.
Yeah.
He wants you to know that Michael of Nebadon has positions on 4 super universes.
Wow.
He has the position of head of the minor sector here in ours, but he does have positions in other super universes, and that is why that we must realize that he also is constantly achieving higher goals.
I know that he is, and I guess I would like to ask if that knowing is human, or if it's accurate that Michael of Nebadon, our Creator Son, is well known for his mercy, even by those Creator Sons who came long before him, and he's revered for it. So do any of those higher positions have to do with his extraordinary level of mercy?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
This planet, remember, is guarded, is guided by Saint Germain because he is the ascended master of mercy, the violet flame. And people on the earth think that our Christ, our Father, Michael of Nebadon, that is his primary role. It is not. It is here on this earth for us, but it is not. He has positions in 4 other super universes that really don't have anything to do with mercy. Our earth does, and we need it. We need it so badly because
Okay.
But it is
functioning on
interesting
that
because
level.
we've explored some of the hierarchy, or the administrative hierarchy of Lord Maitreya's Magisterial Mission, of the Gabriel and Aphrodite's worldwide religion of love. Maitreya's work on our earth at this time with his Magisterial Mission, and getting people to become Christ, or to have that urge to become Christ, and Gabriel and Aphrodite lending their love and truth to us, that Lord Maitreya and Gabriel and Aphrodite are working under the guidance of Michael of Nebadon, of the local universe Father.
Yes.
So
yes,
he's overseeing.
Of course.
He's overseeing.
He is.
So I think the Christ Michael schools and Lord Maitreya's Christ schools I would assume that they're probably working in tandem, or maybe are the same thing.
Well, number one, he wants to say this, that the Christ schools that he is projecting would be the best way for a human to proceed who is already developed to a certain level on the earth. It would be very difficult for them to enter his school, an ordinary human. Almost impossible.
I'd like to hear more about the Christ schools.
The other thing is that the 10-year plan is also an accelerated level that is being offered to the humans of this earth. Those two avenues are the most elite, the very highest way right now that's being offered for humanity, and there's very, very few that will really be able to be enrolled in those two plans. The 10-year plan by Michael of Nebadon and the Christ School by Maitreya. They are the very best offers they are giving this earth to the very highest people that have really, really been working for who knows how many generations or lifetimes.
So, Lord Maitreya, let's say that we wish to enroll in both of those plans. Is that possible?
Not at one time.
Which one would you suggest for us, based on your knowledge of us?
He thinks for you that he's very happy with your application for the Christ School.
Okay.
That seems to be very good. Now, he says, just because you do that, do you think that you won't be closer to Michael of Nebadon?
I consider Michael of Nebadon's bestowal as Jesus the Christ.
Do you really think that you won't be closer? I'm telling you that if you would become a Christ, you will be very close to the Father.
I already feel very close to the
Very
Father.
close to the Father. So do not let that say, oh,
Yeah.
well, if I take the Christ School with Maitreya, that I won't be close to Michael of Nebadon. No. If you become a Christ, you will be more close to Michael than any other possible way, and more than anyone that takes the 10-year plan, because they're only going in as a highly developed human. But if you come in my school, you are one of the Christs, and therefore, do you not think that you will be closer to the Father if you are? You would be.
Of course, yes,
You
of
would
course.
be. But no, you cannot do the two at one time.
We were first,
So.
Gerald, we were first introduced to the 10-year plan before we heard anything about the Magisterial Mission and about the worldwide religion of love. And the 10-year plan, it seemed to me, and please help me if there's anything to add or if I'm incorrect, that the 10-year plan was especially for anyone on this earth who wanted to be with the Father after this life. That he was preparing a place for anyone
Yes.
who wanted to, who wanted to be better, who wanted to improve themselves, who maybe even were thinking about uplifting their brothers and sisters on earth, universal brotherhood, purifying themselves, becoming more spiritual, connecting more with their I am presence, so on and so forth. It seemed to me like that was available to everyone, whereas it seems like maybe the Christ schools
That's a little different situation.
are for someone who's really tuned in, who's
Someone who is totally disciplined at this point and ready to try and apply
So
themselves
is
to
that
a higher
correct?
level.
Is that correct?
Absolutely,
That the 10-year
absolutely.
plan is something
Yes.
that anyone can.
Well, the 10-year plan, the
Go
Father
with.
told us, and I'm telling Gerald, since he may not know, the requirements were very simple.
Mhm.
You did not have to have an highly elevated mind and spiritual growth so much as simply every day, 3 times a day, to thank Michael of Nebadon for your life, morning, noon, and night, to pray to the Mother for your blessings, morning, noon, and night, and to try and talk and commune with him, and just simply think of him as a friend. He did not really require anything else.
Mhm.
The Maitreya School for Christ, he really would like to have people that have been working a good part of their life on really developing a spiritual course, a spiritual path on their own through just living and the growth of daily life, to a point though where their discipline is enough, where he can take and mold them. If their discipline is not enough,
Yeah.
then it's his choice whether he will accept or reject an applicant.
Yeah.
The Father is saying, I'm welcoming any one of 7 billion people
Mhm.
who will come to me and pray to me 3 times a day, or just thank me 3 times a day, who will think of me every day and be a personal love of mine, that I will prepare a place for them. And I've been told that the place has a capacity of over 3 billion room.
Wow.
So it's very different.
Mhm.
This is for an ordinary, wonderful Christian who's like my wonderful friends. They want to be good to everybody. They truly have a good heart. But someone who is just really working harder behind the scenes to be more disciplined,
Yeah.
to be a Christ, really saying, I want to really be a pure vehicle for God.
Mhm.
That's what he wants. He wants to take those souls
That's right.
and mold
Yeah.
So
them.
is he going to accept Gerald's application?
He did.
So now at this point, where do we begin? How do I get information that's necessary for me to continue? Or are we on the right track as
Oh, we're on
He
the right
says,
track.
I've given you 2 friends
Yeah.
that love you and want you to teach them, and maybe he can give some advice to you.
we'll just keep going the way we're
Yeah,
going? Great.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
you shine the light of Christ.
Yes, you do. You walk in like you are a Christ. You do. We honor you. We say
And the
we
words
honor
that you're
you.
saying,
Yeah,
the words that you're saying
yeah,
are for everyone.
for everyone, of course.
You know, they're for
Mhm.
everyone to hear,
Yes.
and the words,
Mhm.
they affect people,
Mhm.
and they teach people,
Mhm.
and they guide people, but the concept is a heavenly concept. So you have decided to be a vehicle for Christ's light,
Mhm.
speaking those words that you speak and teaching those things that you teach.
Mhm.
And we want to help you to do that, as you are helping us
Become Christ.
to do that.
Well, I was
If you so
learning
choose.
so much
I do
from,
choose. I
from
do choose.
Gerald
I
this
definitely
morning.
choose.
I was learning so much.
Mhm.
There's so much that we have to learn. It's
Yeah.
just,
I
it makes
did want
us
to
feel
ask a
very
question.
humble because we don't
And
know.
that goes both ways.
Yeah.
It really does.
And I, we feel that there is that God is really working through you. So we want you. The cameras are set up. The videos are going to be made. The recordings are made.
You're in front of the camera. There you are. And you know
Yeah.
why? He's telling me right now. Because if you have been accepted by his school, you are now his representative.
Thank you.
So this is something that has to happen. You have to go behind the scenes no longer. You have to be a little bit more in front. Maybe it would be good
I think we
for
have all
you.
made that choice.
Maybe it would be good
Yeah,
for you to
yeah.
be a
That's what we're
little more in
Yeah,
front.
we have. Now there is one thing,
So-
because I come from
No.
I always preface this, ad nauseum. I always come from this viewpoint that, I am a producer. I'm a producer and a synthesizer of this information, especially what Diane and I have been building
I could
in the last 20 years.
never do it. Without Michael, I could never do it, and I never did.
In my own way,
No.
it's, I try to be as professional as I can. But I have a question for you, Lord Maitreya. I really believe in Gerald's affirmations. And Gerald has said that as you read the affirmations, as you speak them, as you embody them, as they affect you, as they hone your spiritual self, as people practice that daily, you have said, Lord Maitreya, that each person will have will tweak them, so to speak. They will make them their own, and they will build upon that. But me as producer and synthesizer, or synthesizer and producer, what about the people who don't speak English? What about the people who have a different language, a different culture, may not know who Lord Maitreya is, Saint Germain, Orion, the Universal Father, Local Universe Mother? How do we appeal to them?
He's saying you do not. He's saying that, do you wonder why I also choose a Hispanic body? Because I do appeal to those. And I have my own servants that help and that do all of those things that you would like to do for them. You do not. You do not. I have my own special group that I am working with in my own communities, and we are doing quite well with that situation, except for the ones that are, we will say, in your world on the borders. They're the ones I asked you to pray for, because they do not really have a community leader within their groups to give them any religious inspiration. It is a very hard trek. But as far as the Hispanic communities, the others that speak Spanish, I work with the people within the groups. We have a wonderful Urantia friend, Jorge, George, who's working with his people.
Do they have affirmations, Lord Maitreya, or is there some method with which they can be protected and keep in tune, keep in the flow of God's
He says
love?
a lot of the Hispanic are
I'm
your
talking
Roman
Chinese
Catholic.
too, and I'm
Well, but
talking
you
all
have
over
to
the
take
world.
it one at a time. You can't in a lap yet.
I
He's
know
saying-
there's a huge group on Facebook of Spanish people
Yes, of course.
who I was involved with.
Of course.
And they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
They have
yeah.
the rosary. They've been given the rosary. What is the rosary?
They're-
It's almost like an
They're
affirmation.
doing well
thing.
with Urantia Revelation. They're doing all the same things we're doing.
If you do the rosary, and you do it every day, and you do it at different times during the day, it's almost the same thing. Because what you're doing is you're sealing that auric egg around you to prevent all of the confusion and all of the pain and all of the suffering from coming in. He says that's the main thing that I'm doing right now. I'm telling you the affirmations are a sealant to help the individual to get to the new shore where life will be better and not so hard for them. So use them as that method for now. They do have other purposes, but for now that is Gerald's that is his joy, to give the affirmations to help each individual, protect them, and feel more secure about their place in the world till things are better.
Yeah, and also tune the soul and tune the
Yes,
mind.
of course they
and
have
the
more.
heart-mind
They have
consciousness.
more
Because those
purpose, but
Just
till
even
then.
the
They bring
term
you up.
heart-mind consciousness is going to open people if they accept that as a
Yes,
possibility.
of course. But he says, have no fear in that way. It's just the people at the border have, it's a very rough crowd, and it's not spiritual at all. And the children there, I said pray for the children at the borders and pray for the people. But as far as the the countries that are involved with Roman Catholic religion, they really, their prayers are affirmations to some extent, and they do the same purpose. What about St. Patrick? We just celebrated St. Patrick's Day. What did he give the people? He gave them affirmations that they were to say. Those were affirmations that he gave.
Mhm. The Irish blessing.
Yes, yes.
Is-
So
is
he
a-
says you are
a
not
very
to do it.
popular one.
You are not to do it.
Yeah.
You concentrate on what you can do. He says, I have my own sources for that. So don't
Fantastic.
worry
I'm happy to
about
hear
it.
about that,
Don't worry about
Lord
that.
Maitreya.
No.
And the Middle
Don't worry
East
about
too.
it.
I know you've been working
Mhm.
with the Middle Eastern people. A lot more peace in the Middle East, a little more stability.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he says, as
All right.
far as
I will trust
the
that.
Eastern people, we have so many countries with Maitreya Great Tao temples.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah.
85 countries.
Oh, and they say mantras and
Yes, all the time.
they say their prayers. And,
all the time.
I would think they would be kind
Yes.
of like affirmations.
Finished.
So yeah,
Um,
okay, that answers my question. So
Thank
we
you,
will
Maitreya.
concentrate on what we can do.
Concentrate on what we can do for our English speaking. However, he does want you to pray for the others. You can pray for them. But he says, I take care of them.
Well, yeah, I
as
pray
well."
for the I
You
pray for
them.
everyone in the world
Pray for
every
them.
day.
So
much.
he just wants to reiterate that you are doing the right thing at the right moment.
Thank you.
You are bringing in affirmations. When are you bringing them in? You're bringing these in to put out right at the time when people need them. A crisis in the world. So think of yourself as a lifeboat, number one. Think of yourself as a representative of Maitreya, number two. That is enough for right now. For right now.
That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a big
Yes. All
that's a
right.
big deal.
Cronus, we thank you for being here, and we thank Maitreya for being here. We bless the whole world. We thank you for these affirmations. We know now their purpose, their real purpose for this immediate time. God bless everyone in the world. Are you through? He is through. Cronus is through. God bless us.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
And thank you for bringing this forth.
Well, I didn't, but he did. He told us the purpose of the affirmations, which I
Thank
didn't
you
know.
for your part
I
in
didn't
bringing
know.
this forth.
So
Thank you.
we will do what we can.
Well,
Yes.
Yes.
I would
that's a-
urge
that's a
everyone
purpose.
to
Purpose.
read and study
Mhm.
and contemplate
Yes.
all of the material in Gerald's 4 books.
Yes, absolutely.
He has
Mhm.
4 books that are on
Mhm.
Amazon right now.
Yes, and we are going to order this week, and
Yes.
Michael is given that job.
Yes. And Gerald presented a little bit of his I Am Spirit Self book
Yes, which
tonight with
inspired
us.
this evening's
Oh, yeah.
talk. I'm sure that he wanted to clarify a lot of
I
things.
was meditating while you were doing that, and
Me too.
I was
Mhm.
really up there,
It's
really
beautiful.
with
Thank
every
you.
word.
Yes,
with
I
every
told
word
you
I
we
was
would
up there.
listen
I
to
was
each
up there
word you
with
said.
every word.
Yes.